Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video we are getting started with our December daily process videos. So let me be the first to say welcome to December. Today is December 1st, 2020, and although I am not recording story 1 today because I will be posting my videos a day after they happen. So my day 1 story, you will get the video for on day 2, the day 2 story on day 3, and so on and so on. So for today, what I thought I would start with for this month is starting at the end. So one of the pages that I had started to prep and then thought, you know what, maybe I should make a process video for this so you guys can see what it is I'm doing, is my gratitudes page. I always end my albums, my December daily albums with 2 pages. One that is a mini album for our Elf on the Shelf, and one that is like a wrap up of the month talking about the gratitudes that I have towards the December month and the December festivities. So today, we are going to put together my gratitudes page. The idea for this spread came from a page that I had seen by Amy Jo Vanderbrink, who I will link her page down in the description box below. She is the one who came up with this, I believe, and I think that she may have put it in her 2018 album, potentially. It might have also been 2019. I don't really remember which year it was, but I loved it. And the idea is to create mini envelopes that go onto a page. I have 6 papers here cut out into 4x4 squares in order to make 6 little envelopes to go down the page. Then inside of the envelope is where I will write my gratitudes and slip it into those envelopes. So that is my plan for this page. I also have an acrylic piece here that just says thankful in this tealish color. This was from Colorcast Designs, and I got it a couple years ago, so I've just had this in my stash. And then for the background piece, I decided to stitch down this vellum polka dot paper, which was from Crepe Paper. It did buckle when I was stitching it on, but you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna be okay with some imperfection here. So even though it's buckled, I'm not going to fix it. I only had one piece of this paper, so you know, there is no going back now. So what I'm going to do now is just to create these little envelopes. So the tutorial I'm using is the one that, or the process that I'm using is from a tutorial that Amy had posted on her page, and it's to, or it's on her Instagram and her IGTVs. So the way that she created this is she made these 4x4 squares, and then she punched them at 1 1/4 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here with my memory keeper, or this is my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board. So we are just going to do that all the way around. So you punch it at this 1 3/4, and then I need my bone folder tool, and I'm going to put a score mark at this line A right here. So then I believe you match it up to the score mark. Let's just, hopefully this works. We're going to see if this works, and if it doesn't, I will cut another piece and it'll be fine. So we'll do that, then we're going to line that one up. So we're lining the score marks up on the opposite side, punching it, scoring it, and then we've got one more to go. I actually think that that did work, yes. So then we will punch it and score it. So this is going to give me this little tiny envelope here. So the next thing that I need to do is to round out the corners. So that is this punch on the left side here. So we'll round all the corners off like so. That looks pretty good. And then we've got those pieces that I don't need anymore. Then what we're going to do is we're going to just fold this all in here in order to create this little envelope, which is super duper cute. I am going to cut off a portion of the paper there because I don't want this bottom corner to poke up. So I'm just going to trim it let's get my scissors out here. I'm just going to trim it. Where do I want to trim you at? Maybe like right here, which looks pretty good. And then what I'll do is I'll put that on the inside so that, you know, we can't really see it. Actually, I might want to go a little bit more than that. So let's go a tiny bit more, see if I can straighten it out this time. And that'll be good. Okay, so then I'm just going to add some adhesive to the edges here. Let me get a piece of paper that I can... When I am adding my adhesive to these, I do like to use a piece of paper in order to help me hold it, or to catch the extra adhesive so it doesn't end up on my table or on my board here. So we'll add some adhesive there and there. And then that is our first little envelope. So I'm going to be making 6 of these, and then we will put these on the page here. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm hoping to put this little title here at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead, put you guys on fast forward, and get these little envelopes made, and then I'll slow you guys back down once I have the envelopes ready to go and adhere onto the page. So let's do it that way. So this part of the process is just going to be batching those little envelopes here, just using my envelope punch board and my scoring thing, bone folder, that's what it's called, to go ahead and make 6 of these tiny little envelopes. I really like the idea of having 3 and 3, so 3 on each side of the page. I think that that spatially will work out really well in this album. And I wanted to pick a couple of different colors. So I have 2 that are red, 2 that have some black in them, and then I have 1 that's pink and 1 that's green. So I did that because, one, it is, you know, nice Christmas colors, but also this is going to go right next to my Merry mini album, which has all of those colors in it as well. So that way it gives me some balance between the 2 pages, where it includes all of the envelope or all of the colors, but also, you know, there's not too much overwhelm in terms of pattern and color either. So once I had everything punched and the edges all rounded out, then I went ahead and folded down those score lines and pressed them really nice and tight. When I did that, I realized that one of the patterns that I did, this one actually right here, I made 2, I didn't do it right. I must not have measured it correctly. So I'm going to set that one to the side and go in my stash of papers here in a second to pull out a different one and make an envelope that is also black and white, but just from a different pattern that goes with this kit as well. The stripe one there, it worked out really nicely to cut a straight line across the bottom flap. So I'm just going to use that as my template to cut off the bottom part of all the rest of these envelopes. That way everything works out to be the same, and I know that it's going to work. So it just made it a lot easier to use that as a template. Then once I have that done, we're going to go ahead and get these guys adhered down. I do use my roller adhesive. It works out totally fine, and you'll see that I'll pull over a sheet of, what do I want to say? Just a sheet of scrap paper to add the adhesive on. That way it doesn't get onto my table, because I definitely didn't want that to happen. So here is where I went and grabbed another pattern. I chose this one that's got these stars on it. So it's a white background with black stars. I thought that that looked really cute and went nicely with the rest of the pattern papers as well. So now we have all of these adhered down, and I'm just going to pull over the paper, get them arranged, and then we'll slow back down for the next part of this process. Okay, so now I've got all of these little envelopes done. So the next thing I need to do is figure out like where I want them to go, or what order I want them to go in. And then to get them adhered down, I'm thinking about adding, yeah, like I don't want the 2 blacks. I don't want 2 reds. So maybe that one goes there and that one goes there. I'm also thinking about adding some of these, and I think I'm just gonna go for it and do it. Some of these little Velcro dots onto the little envelopes here, just so that they stay closed when I am not opening them. And so by just sticking these on here, so there's a hook side and a loop side. So I just stick the two pieces together, take them off of here, stick it on the point of the envelope, and then stick that down onto the page itself. So I'm going to do that for all 6 of these. Plus that helps me to see more of the envelopes, the pattern on the envelopes, so I can make sure that I have these where I want them to go. I did have a different black and white pattern, but it was, first of all, it was directional, and I couldn't necessarily get it to go the direction I wanted it to go in. And on top of that, I somehow must have scored it at the wrong sizing, because it ended up being a different size than all of the rest of these, and I didn't like that. So I decided to just cut another piece of paper from the Create Paper collection instead, this little heart or star one. So I believe that all of the patterns I'm using here are from, I just want to make sure that I'm right here. Yes, they are all from that Create Paper Hey Santa collection. So they go really well with the pattern on the vellum side. Okay, there we go. And everything is going to look really good. So we're going to get these adhered onto the page. I feel like I hear something. My husband's working in the back room or something. The little thankful word is going to go at the bottom. We can put these back in the baggie here to hold on to. And then the last thing that I want to do is just kind of embellish on top of these a little bit, just to give them a little bit of interest. And we'll go from there. So, and adhere them down onto the page, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and stick everything down on the page. I'll speed you guys back up for that again, so you don't have to watch me stick everything down, and then we'll slow back down to do the embellishing. So let's go ahead and get this stuff on the page. Before I start embellishing these little envelopes, the first thing I wanted to do was get everything adhered down onto the page. Normally for these acrylic pieces, I can just use my roller adhesive, but this one was really delicate and I felt like it was going to break if I pressed too hard on it. So instead, I just grabbed over my Tombow Mono liquid adhesive, added some of that to the back of the acrylic piece, and then placed that down on the bottom of this page. Once that title was down, the next thing I could do was go ahead and add my adhesive to the back of these envelopes and get these stuck down as well. Because I want these to stay on the page with just strongly, I want there to be a strong hold for these envelopes to stay on the page, I decided to use score tape on the back. So I just added 2 lines of score tape, one at the top, one at the bottom, and then I can take off the release paper and add that down onto the page. I think that it works really great, and it made it super easy to place everything down too. So I'm going to start in the bottom right hand corner and then work my way up to the top. And then from the top down to the bottom, or maybe from the bottom back up to the top. Either way, it just helps me to keep everything straight and make sure that it's in line with each other. All right, let's slow down so we can get to embellishing. All right, you guys, so now for the fun part of getting these guys embellished. So I'm just going to leaf through all of my stuff here and see what I can find that I like the look of on top of these envelopes. I don't want to add too much bulk to this because it already gives it some bulk by having the envelopes on there. So I'm going to see if I can keep things fairly flat for this, but we're going to see how it goes. So I will speed you guys up and get this embellished, and then we will slow back down to close out when we are done with this page for the day. So let's get to embellishing. The funny thing with this page is that even though I literally just said I want to keep things fairly flat so that this page doesn't become too bulky, yeah, I throw that immediately out the window because the things that I like on here are different textures and therefore sometimes, different dimension. So the first thing I picked was one of these Tim Holtz tokens. It's one that says Merry and Bright, and I just love it. I think it's so cute and works really nicely on the envelope. Then I went into my chipboard pieces and I found a circle chipboard that has a piece of holly on it. I thought that was really cute on the red and white stripe, and that gives me 2 circular elements for this page. once I just go through and make sure that nothing else is, that I don't want to change my mind and pick a different one instead. Next, I'm going to move on to some of the other shapes. So I really like this rectangular chipboard shape that says Holly Jolly. I thought that was super cute. And then I also pulled out one of the chipboard stars. So see, we're just all about that dimension. The fabric circles would have worked really well also, but I just felt like I already had too much white on this page. So then I went into those wood veneer pieces and picked the one that has like an upward swing. I thought that that looked really cute. I don't remember what it says, maybe just like Christmas time or something along those lines. So I love that the Holly Jolly and that wood veneer piece both have an elongated shape. So it keeps things balanced on this page. So then I went into my ephemera pieces to see what kind of star elements I could find to help balance out the chipboard star. And instead I come away with a couple of different die cut pieces, one that is a piece of holly and one that is a floral poinsettia. I love the way that those look. I will also pull out a wreath, like a really thin wreath to potentially put around the star right there. But ultimately I decide to put the stars away and not use those, and to put the piece of holly down, or the sprig of holly, I suppose, down on the greenish colored envelope, and then to put that red poinsettia on the upper right envelope. I think that that also helps to keep this page balanced, and it gives me multiple textures on this page. So I have two chipboard, I have a wood and a metal, and then I have two paper die cuts. So I like the way that that looks. To adhere down that metal piece, I am using a piece of red line tape just to make sure that it's got a strong hold on there, since that piece is a little bit heavier on the page. Then I'm just going to stick down those chipboard pieces, and then the wood veneer and those die cuts, I can use my roller adhesive to get those added on. So I love the way that this page comes together. Those little embellishments, I think, just make everything pop a little bit better. And I'm excited to get to this page at the end of the month and fill it with my gratitudes. Filling those envelopes will be so much fun. All right, so that finishes off this gratitude page. I think this is so cute, and it's going to be a great way to store my gratitudes for the season. So definitely excited to get to the end of the month and fill in all of these little pockets. And it looks awesome next to my Mary the Elf mini album over here, which is a waterfall page. But I love that the patterns go together. I think that it looks super, super awesome. I hope that this gave you guys another idea for a way to use those little tiny envelopes. Now, before I sign off for the day, I did say that I would read you guys my reason why page. So this is album 2 of my 2 albums that I will be working on this year for December. So I'm going to stick that one away. And then starting tomorrow, we will be working inside of volume 1. So, so far I do have my intro already done, and I figured I would just go ahead and read you my reason why for 2020. So here is what I said. Reason why. I said, to remind myself to pay attention to the little details and see the small moments of magic happening around me every day. To encourage me to enjoy this time with my family, to show gratitude for the health and happiness of those I love, to think lovingly of those around me, and to act kindly towards others, known or strangers. To participate in a community I love so much and to help encourage others along the December daily journey. To think of new and exciting ways to still find magic when the world feels like it's falling apart all around us. To find time to rest, time for play, time for being alone, and time for being among others. To watch all the movies, eat all the cookies, play all the games, and laugh along the way. To document the good, to document the joy, to document the hard and the sad, to document it all and see what this month will bring when we just show up. That is my reason why. So I am so excited to get into this project with all of you guys and to document all of it, to document all of the stories, just like I said, good, bad, and in between. I hope that this inspires you to pull your December daily out today and get your stories told, perhaps to put a gratitude page as a potential idea for a story in your album this year. And I am just excited to get into the daily stories. So tomorrow you will be getting the very first story. So day 1, which is going to be all about a date night that I am having with my husband. So I cannot wait to tell you guys that story tomorrow. Until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, finding the magic all around you, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye now.